Hello everyone, we're ready to get started here with the stream. I just started loading up cash game tables. There aren't really that many available right now, unfortunately. So we'll see if that is just browser opening or client opening variance, or whether the games are actually slow. If it's the latter, we will definitely play something different. But for now, we're going to play at least one revolution of this cash game that we already have open. So I was able to download a few days of hands yesterday, or this morning, and I updated my graph, so it's starting to look a little bit better with some hands under our belt. You can see it on the top left there if you want to look. If you're not familiar with the stream, I do maintain my graph on stream as well as my balance. As well, you can see that. Of course, you will have to deduct what is currently on the tables from that, because that balance there comes directly from the front page of the poker client. The last session we ran a little bit bad, I think. Maybe didn't play that great either, but we were down about $4. So hopefully we can turn it back around in this session and get back up above $40 and continue on our path toward building a bankroll. Let's check the games. There is one more 5&L table that just popped up. Let me see if I can get on it. Oh, that's slow. I clicked it, but I don't think it. I think somebody stole my seat at the last second. That sucks. Hopefully that's not a trend. We can actually get on some tables here. I meant to go ahead and open up 4 tables, but honestly, I've been trying for about 5 minutes before the stream began, and there's just not much going on. So we'll we'll reevaluate. If we get around to the big blind here on this table, I guess I can blow this table up, table 1. We'll consider switching to something else going forward for the first part of this session, and I'll monitor the cash games as we go, and maybe we'll be able to switch later on. But yeah, I'm excited about this challenge. We started with $25 that I basically scrounged up from the center console of my car, as well as a jar that sits in the kitchen. And we put it on a poker site, and we're trying to play cash games, sit and goes, whatever we can play within our bankroll, and run it up and eventually hope to get to mid or high stakes. I kind of want to prove a point that short stacking is the superior way to build a bankroll, at least from scratch. And then once you build your bankroll, obviously if you want to switch to full stacked or tournaments or whatever, that is just fine. But I think the fastest way possible to build your bankroll, in today's games even, is through cash games, playing a short stack. I'm actually going to post a blog post about this. I've already finished the post. Basically, I've just got to do some editing on it, make sure there's no misspellings, maybe add a couple graphics into it, and then I'll get that up there either today or tomorrow. So you can find that at my website, automaticpoker.com. And if you go all the way to the bottom, you can find where to click the blog. Let me see if I can find that real quick for you. I forget what the / is on it. And maybe I'll throw a link in the box down here for you guys as well. It is /blog.html. That's right there in the chat window, if anyone wants to check that out. I did do a spare change challenge update that I uploaded this morning, and I'll get that blog post on bankroll management and building a bankroll from scratch. But just to give you a preview, basically what I discuss, I basically compare 2 different bankrolls. Player A is your typical full stack player that deposits $50, and player B is your typical short stack player, which deposits. And assuming all things being equal, they have the same win rate, they play the same number of buy-ins for their stake. So for example, if I'm on a 20 buy-in rule, I would play 20 buy-ins at 100 big blinds versus a short stack who would play 20 big blinds at his short stack. And just to show, based on typical hourly rates, how long it would take each player to achieve getting to 200 and L. Of course, with a short stack, you can play with a lot smaller bankroll, which makes sense, right? And that's the main reason that I actually started playing a short stack in the first place many years ago, was just so I could play slightly higher stakes to rebuild my bankroll after Black Friday. And I kind of liked it so much that I stuck with it, and it became basically my specialty, I guess. Betting the turn. So I do not see any games yet, so I'm going to unclick auto post, and then we might sit on a sit and go if we can't get another table up. There is a 9-handed table going. I guess I could sit that. And then if I can get a couple more 6-handeds going right now, I will probably sit that 9-handed. And it looks like somebody may be trying to start a 6-handed table right now. So maybe I'll play heads up. Let's see what kind of stack size this player is playing. I may avoid a full stack player, but play... Oh, so this is a short stack player as well. Interesting. Typically short stack players are not good. Not necessarily, but it's much more likely that a short stack player, a person that sits down with a short stack, is going to be less good. And that's just because recreational players are more likely to play a short stack than a person that has played a full stack for a while, maybe posted on forums, and knows there's a stigma against playing a short stack. It's just a law of averages is all it is. I think this player could sometimes have a flush draw, but I think it's more likely he has something like a 7 or jack. I don't think he's ever going to bluff if I check, so I'm going to just bet fold the river here and assume I have the worst hand if I get raised. I could definitely see a player slow playing like a set of 7s or something here. So I think we're beat by a lot of hands if we get raised. So another player did sit here, so I think I will sit on this table, and I think I'll sit with the short stack player to my right. And try to get a couple more tables up real quick. Here's one if I can get... actually, there's two. One has a very low VPIP. So maybe not the best table. Ooh, I only got one. Fire pretty large on this top right table. Oops, gosh darn it. I can't get to it. I'm going to try and bet the turn and river now. It's not as optimal as betting the flop turn and river, but I do pick up some equity, and I think I have to fire this river because obviously I have 8 high. And he may just have a 9 and was going to just call down the whole way anyway. Maybe we're losing the same amount no matter what. But this stupid hold'em indicator was in my way. How dare it. So, see if we can find one more table here. Nope, there's one. Gonna open the king queen, obviously. And we're gonna get this seat, so we're in business. I will open the queen 6 suited. Let's rearrange the HUD here. This player that I just played the last hand now 3-bets me. Sometimes that can be a tilt raise, but I think I just, without having that read, I'm just gonna fold at these stakes. I'm gonna try to get people off an ace or a king on this hand and assume that it's gonna be difficult to connect with this board in any way, and think our c-bet's gonna work here quite often. I would expect a small pocket pair or something to continue maybe one street here, but we do have a lot of equity against that hand. He does fold, and we take down the pot. This is not shaping up to be a great table so far. I may, in fact, get off this table because I think leaving and trying to find a better table and playing 3 tables is better than sitting on this one table that may not be so great. Were the seats reversed and these 2 players were here and these 2 players were here, I would stay. You always want to keep loose players on your right and tight players on your left. I mean, player 5 is tight, so I guess this isn't the worst seat, but yeah, I want to get these seats occupied by a recreational player. See if we can do that. Here's a seat, unless that's the one I just left, and hopefully not. Sit. Getting a little bit of lag here. We got it. Okay. I'm just going to limp. If I was extremely short, I could shove here. But I think it's good to see flops and multi-way pots with these type of hands. And I'm not even confident it's a plus EV shove anyway. Could be slight winner, slight loser. But if that's the case, why not try for a big pot? I have 2 dirty, one of my outs is dirty. Like if I turn a 4th, like I might sometimes call a min bet here if it was a rainbow board, but I'm not going to do that. In this case, we do flop top pair with a good kicker. This is a draw heavy board. I could imagine we could sometimes get it in with a worse hand. We do have a jack, however, that blocks some of the hands he might get in with, like jack 9, something like that. So I think that makes this more, well, I guess there's other hands to get value from besides. It's just a matter of whether can we get better value on the turn or the river. So I'm actually going to just check back this. Ace is one of the worst cards in the deck. It's pretty much the only card we don't want to see, but it does come, but that's okay. Can't win them all. Just going to bet until he gives me a reason to fold. This is a draw heavy board. However, was this not a limped pot? I think we could just give it up in a limped pot, even though it is a dynamic board. Player limps under the gun and then raises. Generally, that's pretty strong. I would expect him to have something like ace-king or ace-queen. Maybe he was slow playing. I could sometimes defend. This is a cutoff open, so I think I will defend the 10-9 suited. I'm going to rep the high cards here. I'm going to open the 10-9. I'm going to open the 10 deuce suited. I'm not going to float out of position on an ace high board. Although I could credibly rep an ace if he happened to check back the turn. It's just the problem is they're, well, actually maybe it's not such a bad play. Yeah, this player's got a fairly tight image so far, so I think I'll just check. Just fold. And I did bet the 10 on the turn and take it down. This is a kind of one of those draw heavy or blind versus blind play. So I'm just going to pot it, and that's going to be my one and done. I think I can get floated a lot on a half pot bet, whereas I think he'll play pretty honest on a pot size bet. So now I can just check fold confidently and not have to worry about anything. So I think if he continues, he's just got it. And I think he's going to fold more than half the time when I bet pot on that flop, and that's all I have to have him fold. So I think if you're going to bet that flop, you got to bet it pretty strong, because there's a lot of gut shots and things like that that may continue if you just half pot or something, but they're going to fold otherwise, at least on a larger bet. Another min bet. I think with just a pair I have to call. We turn 2 pair. We have to play this cautiously though. Obviously the flush got there, but I do think a bet is better than a check. So we'll bet and proceed cautiously. We get min raised after this player bet the flop, min bet, and then the club comes in and he suddenly raises. So I think this is just a trivial fold right here. We're beating literally nothing in a 4-way pot that's going to raise that turn. Whether he happened to have a straight, 2 pair with the ace, or a club flush, doesn't really matter. We're beat in any case. So It's much easier to bet fold than it is to check call. Like if I check there, I'm pretty much mandatory have to call this bet, and I think he's going to bet bigger than I would, so I lose less money by my bet versus what I had to check call, and then I'm just playing guessing games the rest of the hand. So. Turn of 5, I'm just going to try to get to showdown here. I am going to protect my hand with the 9 here and potentially get him off a king. I don't give this player a lot of credit when he bets. I think he's just betting because it checked to him. However, there's just so much that gets there on this board that I'm just going to have to give up. In a 4-way pot, I'm definitely not slow playing. I can bet a little less than half pot because of my stack size, just to induce something, get some action. Somebody has 6-7, good game, sir. I have outs. But it's more likely for somebody to have like Jack 10 and continue, Jack 7, Queen Jack, you know, a 9, a 5, whatever, and that's about as blank as it gets. So it's just a matter of whether do I want to shove and give some draws a chance to call thin, and obviously also keep scare cards for coming for somebody that happen to have a 9, or do I want to try and bet something smaller to get both players involved? I think I just have to shove. Honestly, if it was heads up, I would maybe consider a smaller bet. But I think I get called by at least one of these two players on a continuing range here. I check back for showdown value. I was going to raise any turn lead, but now I can just bet for value. So this must be like a 5 or maybe Jack 10 or something. If he's taking this long, I imagine he would have called with a 10 already or a 9 already. I'm gonna ISO because this is basically an empty seat right here. This player's tight. I have King 10. So we get called by 7. He had a gut shot, but that was it, and we take it down. That's a good result. Give him credit there for tanking. I think with his exact hand as played, getting such a good price, I think is a trivial call. If he's going to fold, I guess, well, I guess there is no... I guess that hand kind of played itself for him against a short stack. I can't blame him for playing it the way he did. I ISO and then get led into for pot when I flop top pair. There's just a ton of draws that will continue. If I'm beat here, it's unlikely he leads into me. Unless he has something like 9-7, but that's not quite that likely, so I'm just going to have to put it in here. And he was protecting his set of 9, so that's unfortunate. However, he didn't have that much behind, so we lose very little. At least that's good. Not sure why he's limp calling with 9s there. I'm just going to shove the ace-king to pretend like I'm on tilt here and hopefully get a light call. Looking for another table. There's only one available and it was that tight table, but maybe it's a better seat. Nope, missed it. That's okay. 3 tables is good. Oops, almost accidentally called there. That's a bad habit I have, is I'll pre-call or pre-complete in the small blind, and then the big blind, or I'm sorry, the button raises, and I click call at the same exact time. So unfortunately, it did not happen that time, but it was close. There's a new table. Let's see if I can get on it before somebody ganks my seat. I think I got it. Okay, so the game's don't look all that great right now. They actually, honestly, don't look as good as they did even yesterday, where I ran bad. But I do have potential fish directly to my right here. I have 1, 2 to my left here. And with a short stack, I'll stay on that table. A shorter stack. This one I have potentially 3 fish, so an aggressive player directly to my right. I'll definitely stay on this table, and this one is the unknown quantity so far. So I just sat at it. Gonna fold the 9, 10 under the gun, gonna fold the 3s on the button. Yeah, hopefully we can run better today. And I think our next stop would be $60 for... Yeah, I think I'm going to take a shot at 10 NL at $60. So that's only $20 and change away. And it'll get here before we know it, hopefully. And, you know, things will move a lot quicker at that point once you're buying in for $3 versus $1.50. We flopped 2 overs and I got shot on a king high board, so I think this is a clear bet. I think we can just take it down the flop quite often here, and we do have backup. We have a backdoor flush, and we have also the 5. Once we get called and a 6 peels, I think it's just a pretty clear check back and give up, unless we happen to improve. I hesitate to rep the ace because I think his range includes a lot of kings, and I just don't think against a short stack an ace is going to... Obviously it's irrelevant now. But I think shipping when the ace hits, he's just going to make a crying call with the king. So most likely hand, the way it played out, was he had an ace high flush draw, and then shoved the river once he hit his ace. Or he had a 6. Could be. Or it could be a stone cold bluff too, but I have 8 high. His bluff beats my bluff, that type of thing. Some value in protecting my hand on this draw heavy board, so I'm going to min bet. I like doing that more in a multi-way pot because people play more honestly in multi-way pots generally, so I'm not going to necessarily get raised as often by a draw. It's a pretty miserable card, but I think I still have to bet again. I mean, there are some hands I still want to protect against. And if he did happen to have a 10, he's going to hate this card. I may get him off of that, so. But unfortunately, I get raised. I can just fold my crap. There's some value in stabbing at this board. I think somebody calls me with ace high sometimes, but I think I can sometimes get all 3 players to fold on that jack. But I think anybody had anything at this point they would have called, so I think somebody has to have exactly a jack to call this. Otherwise, I think everything's folding. And we found our jack. Yep. Fortunately, one player had a jack. So I think odds are against one of them having a jack. As far as odds of them having, I think I was getting a good price for my half pot bet. It only has to work 33%, so I think less than that people wind up having a jack there, if that makes sense. If not, it's not a huge loser. I think it's good to keep an aggressive image though. I mean, everybody will get to see that hand if they're regs, I guess, and they know that they can check hand histories immediately. They'll see that I stabbed with 5 high there or whatever. And every time you have an aggressive image like that, it helps you. It's more beneficial. The benefits of it outweigh the negatives, let's put it that way, as long as you can adjust to your own image. Obviously, that's a good turn card for us, but I think it's a clear just call situation if somebody leads into me. However, I will value bet once check 2. Hoping they have something like a small pair, ace 5, you know, some kind of gut shot or something they'll continue one street with. Or 2 streets. You'll find a lot of people are just playing their cards. The regs that are playing are just playing their cards at these stakes, and I'm not saying that's not the optimal way to play here. But you can definitely exploit. It's not necessary to 100% play your cards, is what I'm saying. You still got to find spots to read player tendencies and make adjustments. I'm not saying, I mean, you can play ABC poker and do just fine at micros. Not as much as you used to be able to, but definitely if you are not, or if you're new or not a strong player yet, it's fine just to play ABC while you build your bankroll and learn. I think this is actually a decent spot to check back. I think we could still fire a lot of turns. I think that's a good turn card for us. This player is pretty tight. Now, what can happen here is I can call, and he may check, and then I can bet the river. So I'm not just calling because I have an open ender. Also calling because there's potential to take the hand away from him on the river, even if I do miss. I'm going to ship the ace queen here. I think he just basically has an ace most of the time here, or better, and we don't get there. We do hit a 6, but I mean it's just crappy showdown value. I think checking is trying to keep the pot small in this situation. We may have the best hand here, so I'm just going to fold here. If I had a deeper stack, there are situations where I could just ship it there, like if I had $1.50 still behind. I think it works quite often. I'm never going to fold this open ender here. And I think that card's going to slow him down if he was. So I doubt he'll barrel a bluff here. So I think we're just going to have the best hand quite often, and we do. It's one of those boards that somebody would have definitely bet the flop had they had anything. So when he bets the turn, it's almost always a bluff. Or semi-bluff, could be. But usually a bluff. Not gonna raise with the weak 10-5 here. I think we'll just be happy to see a flop. We will bet at some point, assuming he doesn't have anything. I think floating here with the gut shot is good. We could even raise sometimes. Yeah, I think we will call and then bet any card that is an 8 or higher here. Or we'll just hit a straight and like a boss and just win the hand that way. So this is really well disguised here, so we'll just raise, standard raise. I was going to probably raise this river anyway if an 8 or higher had come, but now I actually get to do it with the best hand. So good thing we hit our hand because he decided, oh wow, this is why you do not slow play aces. Blind versus blind. He's going to think he's really unlucky there, but really he just played the hand poorly. So I was able to finally get through the final table of the main event earlier today. Actually, an hour ago I finally finished it. I never thought the heads up was going to end. So spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it yet, I'm probably the person to watch it last that cares anything about it. So if you don't want to be a spoiler, just mute it for the next 10 minutes. No, not 10 minutes. 1 minute. I'm only going to talk about it for about 1 minute. So it was an interesting final table. It was very exciting. It was probably the best final table I've seen in a long time in any kind of tournament. But if you haven't seen it, and you didn't care to see it, you should watch it because you will learn the value of aggression in poker. Because obviously Queen Win is not the strongest player in the world. But he just proved that having raw aggression makes up for a lot. So that's all I'll say about it. And I don't think his opponent was that strong of a player either. So I won't say names anymore, but I will talk about the two players. I think it was a fairly overall weak field in the final table this year. Some people might disagree with me on that, but I really didn't see, except for Cliff Josephy, he was definitely a strong player, but he didn't play that well throughout the final table, honestly. He played very ABC. I'm going to check back the ace high with a club draw. I'm just going to raise the queens. I like Cliff. I remember reading about him back when I first started playing poker. This guy's likely to fire 2 barrels if he's bluffing, and I just can't call 2. So I think this is a good board to give up, because I think he's got a lot of small pairs when he limp calls like this. This guy limp shoves and has deuces. Good for him. We've got to fade 2 deuces in a row, and we're fine. So, yeah, I remember reading about the legendary Johnny Backs back when I first started playing tournament poker back in 2007 or 8. He was on top of his game, I think, back then. So it was surprising. Well, it was kind of fun just to see him be on the table this year. I really enjoyed watching him play. And the fact that he's older was really interesting. And he just seems like a great guy, too, you know. Seems like he's just a genuine nice guy. I don't like the way he treated Will Kasuth, but I don't blame him either. Because just what you saw on TV is probably not even half of what was going on. I like Will Kasuth, actually. I think there's a time and a place for his style of play, but I think he did take it too far. But I still like the guy, and I think he's a good player. And my favorite part was when he said, maybe I'm just thinking about more than you guys are, because I actually think he was being genuine there, and I actually think he's right. There are probably some things, because he's a metagame player. And I think that's where his strength lies. And I think he's very good. I think he's a very good post-flop player. He's good at reading board textures and opponent tendencies on those textures. And I think that's where his strength was. And it was fun watching him play a lot of those hands. It was reminiscent of Jamie Gold, except Jamie Gold was never a good player. Will Kasuth is actually a strong player, I think. And I arguably think was one of the top 5 players in the last 30 players. And he definitely deserved to be on the final table. It was unfortunate he wasn't there, because it would have been a lot more entertaining. Now, the final table would probably still be going on right now were he on the final table. But it still would be worth it to me. But yeah, overall, it was an entertaining main event. And one of these years, I hopefully will get to play in a main event. It's always been a dream of mine. I've never done it. But definitely that's something on the bucket list. At least one time to play some World Series events. If anybody's staking, I'm here. I actually had a player, or a friend, well, not necessarily, an associate. Anyways, a guy that I knew very well, and he staked players. And he had staked me briefly at one point. He was giving me a full ride in the World Series in 2012, I believe. Or was it 13? Or was it 11? I don't remember. It was maybe 11. I honestly can't remember. You'd think I would remember that. Especially the fact that I didn't get to go because I got rear-ended the day I was flying out. The guy hit me going 50 miles an hour. My family was in the car. Yeah, so I canceled the trip. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But I didn't think it was appropriate to leave at that point. Nobody was really hurt that bad. I had some some neck issues, you know. I just honestly didn't want to endure a flight and then the grind. I didn't think I would be able to play optimally, honestly. And I didn't want to go play on somebody else's dime when I wasn't able to play my A game. 'Cause believe me, I definitely wanted to go. I'm going to leave with equity on this. This is really strange that this guy check raised. So I think he's either got Jack 7 or Jack shit here. Honestly. I think my 3 could be good here sometimes. I think I could have gotten it on the flop, honestly, too, sometimes. Probably had the right price. Check raised after an limped pot on a 7. Well, I have clubs, so it's unlikely he has a flush draw. I'm trying to think of what bluffs he could have otherwise. I think I'm just going to fold. I'm going to assume this guy, this passive guy in the big blind is just going to have it here a lot. So although that's a good river card for me. Oh, I thought I folded. I think against this aggressive player, I can go ahead and ship the 6s versus his hijack open. It's pretty marginal, but I do only have 15 big blinds or whatever. Find a new table here. I'm never leaving this table. I have a 6-6 guy directly to my left. So I'm basically free rolling this table. I could just wait till I have value hands most of the time. And I do have these 2 fishy type players to my right. So this is a primo good table right here. This is what you're looking for when you're looking for in table selection. Look at the stats of these players. You know, I just realized I'm only showing the main table here. I apologize for that. I've probably been talking about a lot of other tables. So, yeah, hopefully you realize that early in the video. And this is why I don't like going to one table, because I forget. But that's okay, I guess. It's gonna suck for people watching the repeat on YouTube. I mean, obviously, if it had been a problem for somebody watching right now, they would have said something in the chat. So I may just edit out the part where I had one table going. And just maybe, yeah, I might do that. I think it's only, well, it might be 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah, I may just do that. Anyway, if you're just tuning in because I've edited it out, I had to get rid of part of the video because I had this clicked. It was only showing the top left table. So there's a lot of stuff going on other tables that you weren't able to see that I'm talking like an idiot about. I'll try to be careful not to do that again. I think I'm running okay today. I don't think I've been stacked. Of course, knock on wood, right? We're going to open the 10-9 suited. Fold the Jack-8 offsuit here. Now that we can see all 4 tables, I will evaluate each one. Bottom right looks like a decent table. I have a 49-11 directly to my right, and tight players to my left. Top right, I have a tight player to my right, tight player to my left. The mark on the table would appear to be this player number 4 here. He's 57-11. He has 2 to my left. It's not the ideal seat, but seeing as I'm under, I guess, what am I, about 20 big blinds, I think I'll stay. This guy's not going to be pounding on my blinds, and I'll have a lot of re-stealing spots against this player. I think it's okay to stay on this table. Top left, I have a fish directly to my right. A semi-fish, 2 to my right, and then the 2 type players. So this is the optimal table here. I'll stay on this table no matter what my stack size is, most likely. Unless the dynamic changes. Bottom left, I have a fish to my left. It's not ideal, but I do have a type player here. And short stack just sat to my right, so this might be okay here. Gonna give it a chance. I flop open-ended on with a couple dirty outs, but I'm still going to lead on this board. I think there's a lot of reason to do so. On 4-way pot, I'm not going to get re-raised unless I'm pretty much crushed. And I'm also building a pot for in case a clean queen or 7 comes on the turn. And also people play honest in 4-way pots. We've already discussed this. So if somebody raises here, they pretty much got a huge draw or a huge made hand, and I could just pitch my crap into the muck. I think it's definitely a lead. And I could get somebody off pocket 6s here, because his pocket 6 is really going to call on this flop. Is ace 10 going to call on this flop? So, I think when he calls here, he just often has a jack. So I think I'm just going to bet small again. Just basically give myself a good price to continue drawing. And then evaluate on the river what I'm going to do. I think it kind of looks like a draw when I lead twice. So I'm not sure what he would have there. I flop a straight on the bottom right. That's obviously good. I want to be able to get all in by the river, so I'm not going to slow play this. Especially against an aggressive player, I think I'm just going to bet like 10% of my stack here, then 25% of my stack on the turn, and then shove the river. Not really too concerned about a flush because I think I get check raised when he has a flush draw a lot. By the other token, I think he's going to give up on this turn with a lot of hands I'd like to continue. I should have shipped here, but now I'm just going to lead. I think I'm going to check back just so I can get some value from more hands. And I also can mitigate the sometimes that he does happen to have a flush, and that's a good card. This is a lot of 2 pairs I can get value from, so I think half pot's fine here. Although the 8 kind of kills some of my action. I think you could argue for either shipping or calling that turn. Maybe this was a check raise on the flop. I'm not sure. I'm definitely going to open 100% on this button. And I'm actually may leave this table now that this player left, because I'm not convinced this guy's a fish. Obviously going to rep the ace. This player, his range contains a lot of aces, but I think everything else he just folds because that's his player type. He leads. This could be a draw. This could be an ace, a weak ace, just trying to keep the pot small. Either way, I have no equity, so against a type player, I'm just going to err on the side of caution. I'm not going to try to get somebody off a queen by the river. I think I could just check back here and try to get the showdown. However, I do think I can protect my hand with 3 here. And potentially get somebody off like a hand like pocket 5s or something. Just going to give up with the 8s now. I think it's no good on that board versus these players. I'm just going to get off of this one. Our mark left. Our main mark. Here's a table. So I don't know, I might start splitting my play into 2 separate hours. If I'm going to do 2 hours, I may do the first hour cash and the second hour sit and goes. Against this aggressive player, you know, he's only stole 25%. That's 4 out of 12. He's now 5 out of 13. It's 30%. I think this just barely falls in the range of hands I could shove. Overall, he's aggressive, so maybe he's just been card dead in steal spots. 36-24 should be stealing more like 40-50%. So I'm assuming that his range is wider than 25% here. There's just been some reasons he hasn't opened. So I'm going to have to just go with that read. I think 5s is still close to break even if he did happen to have 25% there. With my 18 big blind stack or whatever. Yeah, this player is 15-8. I think queens is a snap fold here. I mean, I'm sorry, ace queen. And I'm not even going to think twice about it. This is a fold as well. I feel like I'm running okay so far this session. This player's kind of stationy, I think. Well, maybe not. He's folded to c-bet 75%, I guess 3 out of 4. So maybe I can just c-bet here. I could also check that back with showdown value sometimes and reevaluate on turns. This can be a re-raise sometimes. I tend to avoid doing the third and goes at these stakes. I just think it's high variance, and I think high variance is good when the win rates are lower, but my win rate should be fine here. And I don't really have a read on any of these players just being huge maniacs, and that's what that play really works against. And a third and go, if you don't know what it is, it's something I've put in my book. It's where you bet a 30-year stack pre-flop and then shove any flop, and it really targets maniacs. I have backdoor diamonds and a gut shot. I'm going to call here one straight for a min bet. Yeah, with the 2 overs and a dry board like this, I'm just going to bet. So a third and go targets maniacs. I'm going to just fold now. People, just typical gambler types that you might have a read on the table. People that like to call and see flops. So you're a short stack. You bet a 30-year stack. It's not really going to look like that big of a bet necessarily, so it traps them into a lot of bad calls. And if they fold a flop, you've won no matter what happens. Because the rule is you don't put in a 30-year stack and then fold. So that's what they would be doing, putting in a third of their effective stack and then folding on the flop. You also see some ridiculous calls on the flop. Like I've seen ace, king, queen boards and somebody calls with like 9-3 or something on the flop with backdoor flush draws maybe or something. I think I've shoved a flop with deuces before and had something like that happen. And they ended up having 6 outs, which is funny. But yeah, you'll see some crazy stuff. So I usually do that starting at like 100 NL, 200 NL, where you start seeing those players that are playing that way. This player 3 bets. I have ace king. Now it is only 8 hands, he's 13-0, but what range of hands is going to be 3 bet in early position range? Because he's on the button, I'm going to go ahead and put it in. But if he was not on the button, I would be thinking about folding there. But button 3 bets tend to be slightly wider. But I still anticipate he's going to have a strong range, and he hits his queen. That sucks. Oh well. So he did have a strong range. I think he just had the bottom of his strong range. This player raises a king on the turn. I'm not sure what he's doing this with. I'm just going to overbet and expect him to fold everything except a flush or a boat or a straight. And he must have had one of those hands because he re-raised. That's unfortunate. I thought maybe he would fold the bottom end of the straight or trips even sometimes. So I think on this dynamic board, he's going to bet a lot when we check. So I think check shoving is good. It just simplifies the process. We don't get to see any bad turn cards. I'm going to be put in an awkward spot. And I think this connects often enough with enough of his range that he's going to be able to stack. So we're not really losing any value. And of course we could just earn that and hope he doesn't have ace queen here. If he does, we have outs. I would expect him to bet ace queen 100% on the flop, so I'm not sure. I mean, I just expect he's going to have a small pocket pair there most of the time, unfortunately. So maybe that could have made the turn a check. I don't know. I hate to slow play there because there's a lot of cards that can beat me that he could have, like gut shots and things like that. I think you kind of have to bet there. Definitely ISOing ace-4 suited. I think we just have to bet on this king-high board. Get him off his pairs. We pick up some equity on the turn. I expect he's going to have a jack here often. So I think he raises his kings. It's kind of strange that he leads the turn. It's always strange when a player does this. Always confusing. I am getting 6-1. I think I'd actually have to call. Just in case he's doing this with like queen 10 or something like that he may give up on the river. Of course, queen 10 just got there. Looks pretty strong when we call, so I expect he's not going to be bluffing a lot. So when he bets here, he probably just has it. Just going to give it to him. I can't think of anything that we're beating there, and I can't think of anything that's folding as it played out there. I've looked through hand histories, and usually when people lead the turn, they have it. But he did bet so small there that I think a call was okay. Get led into when I have two pair. I don't give people a lot of credit for leading with flushes. I think he's just going to have a flush draw a lot. I think I can just peel and then just get it in on any non-flush turn, honestly. Although I do run the risk of him having something like 10-9, you know, that he's getting a free card with his 10 of clubs. So yeah, I have to fold now that the club hit. Wouldn't anticipate him to be bluffing there very often, just semi-bluffing sometimes. This player min bets when it checks to him. Don't give a lot of credit to min bets. And I think I can now probably just get it in. I think I have the equity because his most likely range is like 7s or something. I have a shit ton of outs. Do I want to check call or do I just want to shove and maybe get him off something? I'm just going to shove because I don't want him to check back. I have too much equity not to get the money in here. He does happen to have a 10, which is unfortunate. But we did have equity anyway. Even with his 10, we had, what, 9 outs, so 8 outs. Or maybe 7, I don't know. But I think it's just highly unlikely he actually has a 10 there. This player's really aggressive. He opens a wide range. I think a small 3-bet's still better here rather than a call. He is under the gun, so I'm just going to give him credit sometimes for having a hand under the gun. I want to definitely give him a chance to 4-bet. It's not the greatest flop in the world, but I still have to bet something. You can even check back sometimes. I think sometimes he just has like, oh, I don't know. I think an ace is going in anyway by the river. So I don't think I need a bet here. I have a pot size bet left. I can check. I'm trying to get value from something like pocket 5s or 8s or 10s that might somehow decide to call it off on the river now that it blanked off. Unfortunately, it does not call. I'm going to get some thin value off my 9 here by min betting. Or attempt to anyway. He min raises, I'm pretty sure a 9 isn't good, so I'm just going to fold. We're getting a few little tricky spots here and there. But that's good. So yeah, I think I'm going to play until 3 o'clock, which is another 7 or so minutes. And then we're going to switch to heads up sit and goes again. I'm going to try that format, play half the session cash games. Definitely want to focus on the cash games, but that's going to happen inherently anyway because sometimes I won't be able to play the full 2 hours anyway. So that'll mean the times I don't, I'm going to play more cash anyway. But I definitely don't mind playing sit and goes. Because I think right now they may be a higher hourly rate. Once I get to 10 and L, these $1 buy-ins probably won't. But before then, I think they are. I have a little lull in the action here. I guess I'll have one time to play one revolution here. So after the blinds go around here and here and here, I think I will sit out next big blind. And we'll switch to sit and goes for a bit. So I flop a gut shot on a really draw-heavy board. Well, I mean, there are no flush draws. I think a bet is better than a check because I don't have showdown value. I just think I'm going to get played back at here quite frequently. People like to call in the blinds with lots of jacks and 9-10s and 9-7s and, you know, queen 10s and things like that. So, but we do take it down. But I think with our equity, it's better to bet, especially since there's, like I said, no showdown value. I think I'm going to open shove the ace king suited. This looks crazy, and I'm just going to end up in a 4-way pot most of the time that I open. So I'm going to give somebody a chance to pick up like a weak ace behind me and call it. If I weren't quitting soon, quitting cash games, I wouldn't do that. But I think it's good to do that. To mix up your game occasionally. You'd be surprised by what you get called by. I have a club draw and 8 high, so I think I can get somebody off something by the river here. And You know, club draw could be good for me as well. And if the club doesn't come, he may have a club draw that he'll fold now. So I think it's a profitable bet with 8 high. Especially if he's going to fold something like 5s or 3s or 2s or whatever. Ace high. Check, give up. I'm going to bet small fold. Thinking maybe 2 pair or something might look me up. Always funny to have a deuce high flush and get value. And some guy berated me one time in a video for going for thin value without a flush on a 4 flush board. So that's basically the same thing, going for thin value with a non-existent flush. Because if you get called, you would expect to be beat there. But like I said, this is a unique poker site in the world. Crazy things happen. Okay, so he had 2 pair, 4-6, just as I predicted he might have and might call with. Get off these tables soon here and move on to, I'm going to go ahead and register a sit and go, heads up. We get 3-bet and 4-bet, so I think we can safely fold our monster 9-8. Unless we felt like it was coming, you know. Alright. I'm going to go and open the 8-6. I think it's a good spot to do that with this tight player on the button. We basically have the button there. If he wants to give us the button, we'll take the button. Let's get a monster flop for our hand. Just going to raise a third of our stack and just commit. You definitely don't mind getting an M versus a 7 here. Or pretty much anything he could have except maybe, I don't know, ace high flush draw. But I think he might fold that on the turn sometimes. And we get him to commit a third of his stack, third of the effective stack and fold. So that's always a win. Assuming we weren't ahead there, except maybe equity-wise on the flop. I'm assuming he had us on the turn, no matter what he had. Especially if he had ace high, I'm guessing we were like 40% equity now. So when somebody folds their 60% equity and they have more than a third of the effective stack in the pot, it's a huge win. So that's why you want to play those draws like that aggressively. And when you have a short stack, it's just really easy. You bet a third of your stack on the flop, shove the turn. Easy peasy. Nobody's sat with me yet on the sit and go. Hopefully soon. So while we're sitting here waiting on a sit and go, maybe we'll do something fun. We'll look at the higher stakes cash games and see what's going on and see how the table dynamics look. There's several 5-10 games going right now. We'll just have a little fun here. That one's got my name all over it. Oh, our sit and go came up. I had my name all over it. The name of the table is James. Get it? Heart. Alright, so I'm going to close out these cash games. We'll do that again some other time. 2. Fold to Jack 6. It's good to see all those games going right now, though, at this hour. Start with an open on a 6-3 on the button. I'm gonna bet pretty big on this board. It's hard for him to have something, and I don't want to get floated. That's a good sign. He's maybe fit or foldy. Now he's folding again. So hopefully this is one of those loose passive players or tight passive, doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna go ahead and fold the 10-5. I would normally open that against this player, potential player type, but it's good to show that you can fold early in the match. I don't get an image where this type of player is gonna start playing back at me and doing weird things. I like to just keep him in his little bubble, what he thinks might be the best way to play, and just milk him. Now I'm not saying he's even that player style. He may just be filling me out as well right now, and maybe maybe that's a sign of that. But usually your initial reads are the right one. Time for a 3-bet. No. If he's folding the min raises with a great frequency, definitely looking good here. And he seems to be 4xing. I don't know whether that's just because the blinds are low right now, or whether that's his standard thing. Guess we shall find out. I'm going to check back with showdown value, the backdoor diamond draw, and a queen is an over. Unfortunately, we get led into. I'm not sure what to think of this yet, but I don't think our hand is quite solid enough. I think I'm just going to give up. Certainly some parts of my range that would continue their light. Yep, he's a 4xer. It's interesting. So when he does that, we definitely should be playing a stronger range in the big blind, obviously. So another board that connects really well with his range. Yeah, he donk bets again. So I will pick part of my range eventually to play back at him in that spot, but it's just my range versus the board textures we're getting just aren't working right now. So I'm going to let him keep 4xing and keep donk betting, and eventually we'll win a big pot. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I'm going to tighten up my opening range slightly. I'm going to go to about a 80% to 70% opening range, just because of his donk bet style. He's still stealing 4x. I'm not going to 3-bet king jack. I'm just going to play a pot. My flop open-ended. Always good. I haven't really played a post flop. He bets smaller on the flop than he did pre-flop. I'm just going to call. I'm going to do what he does now and lead the turn, just to kind of throw him off balance. See how he reacts to that. I'll go for just a reasonable size value bet. 280. Expect to get paid off by his entire continuing range on the turn. So we can see what he had here. We'll take a break, one hand, let him cool off, especially with a 6-4 suited. So he had a queen. He actually had a flush draw on the turn. Wow, I wish I had just overbet ship the turn. Or check raised. If I knew that was exact holding, I would have played it that way. Oh well. What are you gonna do? We would be playing our rematch right now. I'm interested to see if he goes to a 120 bet size now when the blinds go up, or whether he goes to something other than 4x. This is just a standard c-bet spot on that board. Either he's going to like this board or he's not. What you gonna do? 120. He's 4xing it. Maybe he's got a hotkey. I wonder, is this potting it pre-flop give you a 4x? I thought it was like 3.5x. I'm gonna try that. Let's see if I pot it. Yeah, it only 3x's it. Okay, whatever. He hasn't 3-bet yet, but I do have ace queen. I think we just have to get it in for 60 or 40 big blinds effective. We get it on the flip. That's fine. We're not gonna get there. It doesn't look like. So we have to somehow come back from our 700. If you've been following, you know we don't do that well in flips so far. I don't blame him for getting it in. The sevens would probably be the bottom of my range for trying to get it in as him. So we have 20 big blinds, so I think we can keep opening. Although we probably have to get it in if he 3-bets again. It's going to be unfortunate if he has a pair. But I think he'll be a lot wider on his getting it in range, so I could definitely see him doing it with just big cards. I'm going to go ahead and rep the king on the turn and then bet the river again. Not going to defend the 3-deuce, but we don't have to, so that's good. It's good that he's finding folds the times we don't have anything. King Jack. I could limp this sometimes. I don't want to get 3-bet, but he hasn't been that 3-betty so far. I think we have to defend this 3-bet with King Jack. And it's just a matter of just how do we want to get the money in. We're trying to get value from like 8s here or something, 7s. We bet 120. I think he was just bluffing. I think ace highs continue on that board. I think he probably just had something like queen high or jack high. This looks like he may be going to a nut camping type style. Yeah, I guess I don't want to talk like that. We'll see. See if he can 3-bet again. We're not too worried about the queen. We are going to check back for pot control. We do pick up some equity in case he does have a king or queen. I think we can just call though. I think if he was bluffing, we'll just win at showdown. I don't think he's folding any piece of this, so hopefully he just was bluffing the turn. Yeah, and he had top pair on the turn. So, yeah, our check back was kind of a gamble there, but he did only have a king to hit, so I think it's better to let him try and hit an 8 and just get the showdown. That's unfortunate. Normally I would bet that flop, but not as a short stack. I played it a little bit differently. If I had the same size stack as him, or I was leading, I would definitely be c-betting that flop. I think I just have to get it in, unfortunately, here. And hopefully he has 4s, or ace 4. He has a bigger pair. Good game, sir. We get it in versus queen jack, and he flops the joint. Yeah, nothing we can do there. We will accept the rematch, and he does not. So we get it in really good twice there and lose. It's unfortunate. We've run pretty bad last few tournaments. I should have kept my mouth shut about being on an 8-game winning streak because I think it jinxed us. He was very fortunate to win that one. Sometimes you got to get lucky in poker. That's what keeps those guys coming back, right? If he never won, they wouldn't play. So we'll hopefully be able to get another game going here fairly soon. I guess we can try for plan B again here and take a look at some of the high stakes cash games. It's always fun to do. Only 1 5-10 showing at the moment. Did I sit? Oh, I guess I can't. Oh, wait, actually that's 5 cent, 10 cent. I could sit. I misread it. Let's see, 5, 10. Where are you? There's a 10-20. A couple 10-20s. Yep. I'll take one of those stacks as my bankroll right now, please. There is money to be had out there in the poker world. You can see that by looking at these tables. I'll show you both. Oh, we just got another game going. That's good. I may just let these couple cash games run just so we can build up a read on a few players. Let me move the cash game here. I'm sorry, the tournament here. And I will fold that. Oops, I gotta get rid of this. Defend that. Do this. I think this is a decent board to check raise right off the bat. People defend a lot with aces, so unless he has a queen or an ace, he's probably going away. And at the same token, he's going to c-bet like 100% here, so I think it's a very profitable check raise. We're going to plan on opening near 100% to start and adjust as we go. Fold to this 3-bet. Let's go ahead and ISO this table. And we'll defend. Not going to get crazy with it. I think a check call is a good place to start here. I think we need to protect, so I'm going to bet half pot. Maybe a little more than half pot. Could have some showdown value here, and I think his reaction on the turn will let us know. I think this is a check decide. I think he just has like ace high a lot here. Yeah. But I think he's going to take that to showdown, not bluff it, and he's probably not going to call a lead. So I think check is probably just the way that hand has to go there. We can see what he had here real quick, if it'll let me pull the hand up. He actually had king high, which is reasonable. He had a gut shot with it on the turn, so I don't mind his call with a potential 10 outs or whatever. And king high can be good there as well. So hand played as it should, I guess. Opening the 10-9. It's a pretty powerful hand heads up. Unfortunately, getting folded to on our ace-king is never a good thing, but we have a chip lead now, so I'm just going to try and solidify that. Try and win a couple more pots, get up above 2K is always the plan before we get to higher blinds. I'm going to check back my showdown value and gut shot here. I don't want to get blown off my equity. I think I'm going to go ahead and check back again. Expect to have the best hand at least half the time here. Yep. Surprised he didn't stab. I probably would have folded to him on our bet. To defend the ace-7 offsuit. Probably have the best hand a lot here, so I'm going to check call. I got to check raise because I think I have the best hand. There are also some hands that he could barrel with, like 9-7. If he reps the king, I'll call. He had ace high as well. Unfortunately, a better ace high. He's opening fairly wide. I have to defend the king 7. Doing a standard c-bet. We do flop more equity in case he has a speed here, but I think it's just a check call again. I wouldn't mind a check raise sometimes here, just to cheapen our showdown value. I think I can just min raise fold here because I think he's never re-raising again with a worse hand. But I think we can freeze him off of a lot of his draws, and then we can go for a lot of profitable check calls on the river when he misses his draws. I think we can build a pot to make a good bluff catch with. And sometimes you have to raise your, you can't always check call your top pairs. You have to raise your top pairs sometimes. You have to balance. Good to get in that habit in case you have opponents that are able to make those kind of reads. So we flop a pair and a flush draw. I think just trying to get our hand to showdown and under repping our flush draw is strong here. If we happen to hit a flush, he'll never put us on it. So now I think we can just bet 2 streets for value and hope he has a piece of this. It's not really a spot you just want to get the money in, because what do you get it in against? King? I guess sometimes you could get it in against a, he has 34 big blinds. I think this is close to a ship. I think if he had under 30, I could ship this. No, I'm just going to call. I'm going to lead. I don't think I can check call on this board. Pick up some equity. I think he's going to have just a pair sometimes here, and he'll fold that. However, I do have showdown value, and I think he's going to hate that king of diamonds sometimes. Actually, I think this is a check fold. I don't think he'll bet that unless he is strong here, because it looks pretty strong with our lead on this board. It's a pretty weak bet. If we had the ace of diamonds, we'd definitely continue. I'm just going to give this guy credit for being fairly tight post-flop and just give him this one. I took an orthodox line, and I think most of the time we just pick it up on the flop. And then a lot of times he calls and then just checks down, so I'm not really concerned about being exploitable in that spot. Just going for showdown value to get more value from maybe a jack at some point. Fortunately, he's not having any second best hands right now, but that's fine. We're maintaining our lead mostly. I like to small ball basically at this point. There's no reason to play a big pot until we have a big advantage. The burden of proof is on him to rebuild his stack. This is why we build chip leads. A lot of players will play more aggressive when they build a chip lead. I actually think that's the opposite should be true in a lot of circumstances. There are times to gamble, and actually you can gamble as long as the gamble doesn't decimate your stack too much. If we lost right now, we'd have 800 chips, and that's not too great. Hopefully he picks up ace queen right now, and we can just get this thing over with. I'm not going to give any free cards on this board. This is way too draw heavy. I think if he has an ace, the money's just going to go in. Hopefully he doesn't have something better than us, but I think he slow plays that sometimes. And he just has the straight draw. And he just insta gets it on the turn. So we get another good spot, another good all in. That's where we 0 for 3 now, and we were ahead on every all in. Yep. But that's the way it's going to go, I guess, sometimes. We'll just have to rebuild. At least we had that chip lead and we could withstand it. I'm going to go ahead and rep the ace. And now we're just done with a hand, because I don't think he ever folds a jack here. I don't have enough chips to make him get away from it. So it's going to assume he has a weak ace or a jack, and we can just get away from our hand. My stack size is a little short now for me to be defending with a king deuce, so I'm just going to let that one go. I'm down to 22 big blinds. Definitely going to get it in with the 10s here, as you would expect. Now we're just betting for value. I'm just going to pot it on this draw heavy board. If he happens to have something, he's going to go with it a lot of the time. But I want to try and get it all in by the river, or at least give myself an opportunity to shove some turns. Were it a drier board, I would probably bet smaller. Definitely not folding the king queen. In fact, I'm down to where I should just be shoving here. So I'm just going to ship the king queen. Time you're under 15 big blinds, heads up, it's probably better just to ship, open ship. There's just so many tricky spots, and if you lose a pot post flop, you're screwing yourself out of all your fold equity. I will raise a hand like queen 7 though. Good flop. Standard c-bet. Unfortunately, he has nothing again. But we are rebuilding our stack, so that's fine. I could see myself shoving this sometimes. If it was suited, I definitely would. He's opening 36%. I think this is close. I think I have to defend. I think I defend is slightly better. I think we're just going to try to get the showdown here. I don't like that card that much, but I think we have to call at least one more street. Yeah. Makes sense. I'm glad we didn't ship, as we started to, because he was at the top of his range there. But as you can see, we're keeping small pots. We're staying in the 600 to 800 range here, and we bide our time until we pick up a hand we can double up with. That's kind of the goal right now. And chip up if you can, but otherwise we're just looking for a spot to double up. I'm going to go ahead and open. I'm assuming he's nut camping a lot here, so wow. I'm going to insta-mid it. $150. Good result. And he, for whatever reason, bluff shove and rep the king. That's good for us. Min betting will do that to people sometimes. So we're back in it. I guess we need 100% equity to win today for an all-in. Just gonna play pretty straightforward here. I don't think there's any reason to get out of line. I think just our aggressive advantage, I guess is what you would call it, will be enough to win this a lot. We don't need to get tricky. I think he's just playing fit or fold anyway. We'll just, I mean, we're stealing 95%. And he's not 3-betting. So that alone will just take us over the top a lot of the time. We could be really selective on our all-ins. About time for a 3-bet though. Been a while. There we go. We're back to our starting stack. We'll just make it a hyper turbo here, make it 25-50 and start now. He's stealing 37%, folding to steal 37%, rebetting 16%, if you can't see the graphic here. Hopefully that's visible. I think it is. I'm looking at it. Checking back is fine here. Don't anticipate him to have an ace much here. I think he 3-bets a lot of aces unless they're weak. I don't know whether to min raise or call though. Just calling's fine. I think if he's bluffing, he's just going to check now. He has been shown to rep overcards though, but I'm just not going to do it against this guy. I'm not going to decimate my stack again when I just don't think it's necessary. And that being said, I probably misplayed this hand. I should be betting that flop if I'm going to take that philosophy going forward. And not give him that opportunity to bluff when I can't call, is what I'm saying. So that was a misplay on my own part. I have to bet I only have 5 high, but I'm only going to one and done in here. I'm not going to barrel off or anything. And board pairing type thing is never that awesome. I really think he's folding nothing now. Even ace high is probably going to snap me off here, so I'm just going to give up. Well, I guess I could ship there. Just don't see a need to right now. So blinds go up to 50 and 100. We're now down to 10 big blinds. If he limps, I will ship, but he hasn't limped yet, I don't think. Yeah, I'm pretty much shove fold now. I guess I could open some hands. I'm going to choose hands that flop really well, though, that I can't quite ship. I go with like a linear range in that respect. He's only opening 36%, so I'm actually going to fold the ace-6 offsuit here. I don't know whether he'd be opening wider now or tighter. Just not sure. I think ace-6 is a little weak there. Obviously not shipping the kings. I'm going to just open them. We min-betted last time we had the nuts. I'm not sure if he learned his lesson. Let's find out. Apparently he did. I could check back a dry flop like that sometimes. But I think versus me, that might look a little fishy to him. Because I might have that aggressive image where I'm almost always betting. Maybe that's not true. I have checked back some flops. This makes me wish I hadn't done that, you know. Yep. 7-6 suited I would open. Yeah, see, he's not stealing every hand, so there's no real reason for me to get too crazy here. That's the type of hand I'm talking about that I want to open. And I will bet this time. I'm going to learn my lesson. I think he's shipping a lot of aces here. Yeah, this is weird. So I think a lot of times this is just a flush draw or a jack, and he's just tired of this. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm only beating one of those two, and he has a lot of equity, so I guess he could have a weak ace. Oh, I think he's hit some flops on me, too. Nothing I can do about that. I think most of the time on that board, I just take it down. Being under 10 big blinds, just a ship. Yeah. We're looking at a chop here most of the time. That's good. We'll take it. Pretty close to a call here. I don't give him any credit though for being able to ever put worse in. It's just, am I desperate enough that I need to put it in here? I don't think I am. Queen jack suited, I think I would. But I think he's just got king high or ace high here or a pair a lot. I don't see any reason. I know he's folding pretty wide, so I think I have to ship the 7 deuce suited. I can't let a revolution go round. And he's tight, so probably any two at this point, honestly. I may not do any two, but I think it's okay to do that. Let me get back in it just by his passiveness. Certainly king queen can go in. Well, we get in against an ace. We just need to hit something. There we go. And we hold. So it's good to win and all in. We're flipping that time. Ace-4 certainly should be a call for him as well. I think we're still in shove mode here. We're both under 15 big blinds effective, so. King 3. Close. Could certainly open it, but like I said, I wanted to try and stick to hands that flop well. So I think I'm gonna play a little bit tight. As long as he's willing to fold his button a lot, I'm gonna be able to do that. Now, if he raises like 3 hands in a row, I'll have to get back to do some light stuff again. Yeah, I certainly have to ship the ace-5 suited. Wow, he seems to just have it every time. I have to get lucky here. Get the board pair. Nope, he hits. So we lose this one as well. That's unfortunate. Okay, we'll play this guy again. This guy's really easy to play. He's not a fish necessarily, but he is easy to play. We should be able just to run him over. It's a positive sign that we were able to win 1 all-in that tournament. Oops, got the wrong HUD up again. Just real quick to show you guys something. This 5-10 game here on the bottom left has a player that's 8150. Just to show that you can win money at any stakes if you table select. We got basically 3 legs versus this guy, so this is like a really sweet table. I think this is the board I would be expected to check raise. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to check call and then check raise the turn. I think if he has a flush draw on the flop, he won't continue the turn if he barrels. I think he will barrel a lot here. I can just bet. I don't even have to bet that large because I think he just has air here a lot. But his air might be like king high or ace high. So yeah, we have this. Let's see, any other fish? This guy's 60, 36 or 56. This guy's 51. Yeah, this is the only confirmed whale down here. Anyway, we'll get back to the... Just to show you guys you can table select high stakes and be a winner. Definitely defending the 8-7. Gonna lead. On this draw heavy board. Pick up some more equity. I'm gonna lead again. And there's a lot of rivers I can just check call. Definitely am not folding. 7, 8, 9, 5 are outs for me. And I could have the best hand as well. I think that if he's bluffing, that should slow him down a lot here. Really gonna suck if he had like ace 3 of diamonds and he just got there. I really don't see myself bluff catching here. Not against this particular player. I think he's hitting some hands on us. I think that's the obvious answer there. All this stuff. We're having the second best hand, not getting our draws there. But, you know, we could have easily won those first 2 tournaments. We just lost the all-ins we were ahead on. So most of the time we'll be up right now. There are a lot of draws and we have king high, so I think I can bet again. We have 2 overs in case he has something. Maybe we can go for thin value here. I think he's never folding a 9. Might call with a 7 sometimes. Most likely hand was like 9x. But he doesn't have to have that. We could, you know, bet any river and him get off his whatever flush draws he had. So he had, wow, he had a 4. He had 4th pair. That tells me something about him. Maybe he's a little stationy. I guess we need to not bluff as much against this player. That's kind of strange. I didn't expect that. Especially on that board for him to fire a bluff. Or I mean, that's definitely a bluff call on his part. What could we possibly be bluffing with there? I guess a busted flush draw? Do I just protect or try to get the showdown with? Not try to get the showdown, but try to realize some equity. I think my hand's weak enough. I just got to try and get him off like pocket deuces here. He's gonna raise here quite often, but he could fold something like a 9, sometimes a 10. Not likely, but it's possible. But really tough to realize equity when you have the bottom end of a straight draw. Yeah, this is like deja vu here. You just need to win the dominating all in when it happens. Yeah, maybe he went out of town here and somebody's just holding his computer down for him. I don't know. He's folded 3 straight big blinds, I think. I guess he just had crap 3 times. It's the first time he's limped, so I expect this to be a trap a lot. Can we get him off like aces here by leading? If he has an aces or kings with a club, obviously he's just going to call. I'm going to go ahead and bet. Really nasty run out. I think I just have to try and get him off his ace high flush draws and such. Yeah, that's a pretty light call on his part, honestly. He should at least thought about that. That was a pretty obvious fold, I think. And he probably should just folded the turn, to be honest. That was a little heroish on his part. But we already had that read that he's kind of stationy, so maybe it's my own damn fault. But, I mean, what else do you do when you have that much equity in the pot? And there's a ton of cards we went on too, right? Not sure what he's check calling with here. Maybe a deuce. But he's already shown to be a station, so we can definitely get value. I think we need a bet and then take our hand to showdown. He had a better 10, so that makes sense. It's always possible. We have to pump it up here with ace jack. He limped our weak ace last time. Now we're just gonna rep the king. Hopefully this hand is over. I'm gonna check back, protect my equity. I don't really want to get blown off my hand. Probably have the best hand here almost always. I think I will raise any turn bet that he makes. I think worse aces might lead here. I think this has to be a bet fold. It's strange. I guess he could have like sixes here or something. Oh, wow. Not sure what he was hoping for on the river. I guess we could have bluffed, but with the history we have on him, he probably calls there with a deuce sometimes, so maybe not so much. We just can hope that someday he doesn't. We can get him with a slightly worse hand. Okay, opening queen 7 suited on the button, standard. Defending the ace 3. Opening the ace 9 for sure. He's kind of one of those, he seems to be pretty selective in the pots he plays, but then once he gets a piece of the board, he's just taking it to the showdown no matter what. So So I guess we just steal wide, one and done it. And with second pair or better, we go for 3 streets. Kind of seems like what we have to do, right? I mean, can't. I guess we can call just because if we hit a set, we're gonna double up probably. Would never do that in a cash game. I don't think we can profitably get it in. He's just not 3-betting very often. But I think we definitely have to flat. You could have ace king or ace queen here as well. I think we have to call 1 street. Kind of a value-y type bet. We do pick up some equity, although I think we have to be done with the hand now. Could I ship for protection here? I think really don't want a 5. Well, I guess a 5's great, but we don't want an ace, king, queen, or jack. Okay. 5 should not be in his range that often here, unless he was like ace 5 suited or something. So I think we just have to pay it off if he bets. Yeah, me add jacks. And I guess that being the case, we probably should have just shipped there because once he bets, he shouldn't be folding an overpair. So we probably missed a little value. Maybe I should start thinking through those spots. I wanted to, yeah. Since there weren't any 5s. I mean, if he has pocket 5s there, good game. But I don't think he checks pocket 5s on the turn. I think I definitely lost some value there. I acted too quickly. I gotta stop doing that. Just gonna leave with my top pair. And you know, he's shown to be a station. I think he can call down with ace high here. I think I have to bet fold now that the flush came in and hope he can call it with ace high again. It's gotta be ace high, right? King high maybe. He is down to, is it 13 big blinds? I'm gonna fold this close to a ship. He actually had pocket 4s. I don't blame him for playing that way, even though he's beating nothing on the river. I guess I have shown a couple bluffs. I think if I'm gonna play this, I need to ship it. No I don't, I can raise fold this. Much rather raise fold it. I think he's just gonna play pretty straightforward when I raise. I haven't shown him. He hasn't shown to be loosening up his 3-betting. So I think I just have to take him at his word. I think this might be a call. Oh, it's even better. We just need to avoid a low card coming or a diamond. Whew, I was about to throw my computer out the window. So we do win that. Let's see if he accepts. We will play again. Yep. Definitely want to play this guy again. This might be our last match. It's 3:45. I need to be done by 4. So it's nice to finally win one. Let's see if we can get our streak going again and make it 2. Looking at my bankroll, it looks like we're guaranteed to be up today no matter what happens. I guess we ran better in cash than we thought. We'll start with a fold. Why not? Let him get it. I'm playing a little bit tighter this time. And hopefully he has the same read he's had before. And we can profit from that by being very value-y. I think he'll let us get away with it. If we were playing an aggressive player, we could never do that. But against a player that's folding a lot, I think we can do that. Gonna go to about a 60% opening range, I think, on the button. I'm not saying it's optimal, but I think it's gonna get us in some good spots to do that. I think that outweighs the non-showdown earnings we're losing. And it may make him open his game up as well, which is not necessarily a good thing, but it is what it is. Usually when he tanks like this, he's going to 3-bet. Maybe he had a weak ace he was thinking about, or maybe something like ace-10. So I'm just going to half pot and expect, well, I'm going to bet this. And we are going to one and done this, unless we improve. We're not going to let Mr. Calling Station milk us anymore. Not having any of those quick matches lately. You know, the ones where you cooler somebody early or whatever, you know. Every one of these seem to be going down to 50, 100 at least. Ten six is barely in my range here. I'll play straightforward. That pretty much destroys our hands. I think we just have to give up now. He's never folding a pair, so there's no point in repping a straight here. I would have to overbet shove to get him off anything, and not worth the risk when he has a jack there sometimes. We will defend the jack 7 suited should he raise. But last night, about 9 o'clock, 9:30, I thought something fell on our house. There was a loud banging, almost like an explosion or something. And honestly, after I thought about it, I made sure my wife didn't fall out of bed or something. I assumed it was like a sonic boom, like a group of F-16s flew overhead or something like that. But I wasn't sure, and my neighbor heard it as well. I texted him, and yeah, this guy's a station, so I guess just bet 3 streets. Spend value, bet fold. That worked out. Assuming he just had a 3 a deucer and maybe he turned a 9, I don't know. But against most players, I might just check that river. So anyway, what it turns out is my wife found something out about it. I guess there's an article somewhere. He had pocket 5s on that last one. So he had 3rd or 4th pair, 3rd pair again. So yeah, definitely station. I don't know who it was. Somewhere out in the country near us, not too far away, probably within a mile, tied some dynamite or something to a tree and then shot it with a gun. That's what it was. So I've got to go outside in a little while and check for broken glass because that was a pretty good shake we had. Yeah, this is not good. I could check this back sometimes because this is exactly the spot you don't want to be in. Whether I can just get it in here. I know I don't have fold equity. So what can I do? Just call, and if I don't improve, give up. I can't fold now. I have too much equity. I'm gonna check back. I'm sorry, just call. And now just give up because I'm assuming he had be beat. So I'll save 800 chips. Yeah, any 10, queen, 8, king, I can continue on there, so there's a ton of outs. Crap. Bad time to pick up ace king when he's folding. Yeah, I think he's just kind of getting there when we kind of aren't getting there a lot. Gotta keep plugging away though. Definitely leading with the jack high flush draw. And gonna do some thin value betting now. Wow, could he exactly have a queen of spades here? Does he really raise a queen of spades? I guess this type of player might. He is a station, so I probably should just be folding when he raises. Oh, that's pretty gross. I would expect him just to call down with anything but a queen of spades. I could even see him calling with like a pair there without a flush. When he raises, it's just got to exactly be the queen of spades, although most people would not raise the queen of spades there. That's kind of crazy. Maybe he just thought I had... I don't know what he thought. He might be one of those players, just he sees the nuts and he just bets, raises, and that's it. That's his story. He doesn't think about future contingencies and things, and maybe that's just what's happening here. He's just fit or folding. When he fits, he raises, bets. When he doesn't, he folds. Check folds. Or check calls when he has any piece, rather. We may lead the river here if he checks back again. It's hard for us to rep an ace, though. I get he's probably not folding that, so I'm fine with that. He probably would have called 3 streets with that, so. Yeah, I guess I should be checking back queen 10s because I did have showdown value on that hand as well. So when you can't call a check raise or get it in, probably should not be betting. Unless you don't have showdown value as well, maybe. Yeah, and once he calls here, I'm just done with the hand. Unless I had a 5 or... If I had a 5 or queen, I'll bet again. I do have showdown value as well. You know what? A deuces, 3s, and 4s just got counterfeited, so I think I have to call. Oof. I didn't expect him to bet with his ace highs. I think much more often he's just going to have a deuce without an ace or king. Maybe that's a little too thin. Yeah, maybe I needed at least king high there to call. But I would expect a player type like this just to try to get a showdown when he has 2 pair with an ace. But that's good information to have. And maybe that call wasn't necessary. Because, I mean, there's so much value in me just stealing. Probably shouldn't be making thin plays at all versus this player. So a lot of this might be bad play on my part. There's sometimes I could check back this flop, but I don't have a king or an ace, so I'm just going to bet and bet fold. He's pretty fit or foldy. He's going to hate that flop a lot too, so. Yeah, I think I'm going to widen it out. I've been pretty tight so far. Well, actually, I've been stealing 80%, so maybe I'm not tight, but tighter. I think with the blinds going up slightly, there's an advantage. I mean, there's something to be gained by raising wider. So, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it till he makes me stop doing it. Just a one and done situation. He's so fit or foldy. He's only opening 35%, so it can be pretty tight in the big blind. So yeah, this will definitely be my last sit and go I played today. Like we're back to even here. Chipping away. Spoke too soon. I don't read anything into him 3-betting 2 straight times. I think he just happened to have. I mean, it's going to happen eventually that he'll have two straight hands that he likes. If he does it 4 out of 5 times or something, I'll start worrying about it. At that point, I might tighten up slightly, or at least fold a couple hands here and there. Wow, these things just keep dragging out forever. Can't seem to get a quickie. Guess they're not hyper turbos, right? We have some backdoor outs here, but we don't have that great a showdown value. We have to bet. If we were calling, you know, a lot more often, I would say we had showdown value, but he's so tight in his calling range, he has big cards a lot. So queen high's showdown value goes way down in those cases. In that case. And he's going to have pairs a lot, which he seems to hold on with dear life. Sitting out now. Should we wait on him or should we just keep playing? I think we just keep playing. I have to get out of here. But he sat back in, so. Pick up a few extra chips there with him sitting out. So we regained the chip lead finally. We whittled him down. I think we were down to 1K or 1100. Now we're at 5100. Things should start getting serious. But we're just going to keep applying pressure. King 10's good enough to apply pressure. Eventually he's just going to get tired of this and shove, but he'll probably pick a hand better than King 10 when he does it. We have 2 overs and a gut shot. It's not really something I want to commit with. We do have showdown value, in fact, here, so that's a really good card. Hopefully he has a 10 and we can free roll him here. That'd be really nice. I'm just going to shove and hope he has a 10 and we can free roll. Or a 5, or 2 pair, or set. Gotta give him a chance to put it in. I'm honestly just hoping for a free roll here. He's not going to fold a 10, so he doesn't have a 10 right now. He might have a 5. Or a flush draw. That'd be nice. We pick up a bunch of chips there and get a big chip lead. I guess you could make an argument for me min raising there or something. Probably better. I just thought when he bets, he normally has it. So I was trying to get the tournament over, and maybe I should have played against his whole range and not just the narrow part, which I guess is I kind of fell victim to there. I'm getting kind of mentally tired now, so maybe I don't make that mistake an hour ago. So maybe that's even a more excuse for me to go ahead and quit here after this one. So I'm just going to keep raising. I could just fold everything except what I'm going to shove, but I think he's folding so much I don't have to do that. Yeah, last time he limped, he had a weak ace. Of course, we pick up a pair. I'm going to be disciplined here, though. Just fold. Should we protect? So that's good. One off pot we didn't expect to. Actually going to fold the 6-5 offsuit in case he happens to be on tilt. I would prefer to have a hand I could call there with. Since he's doing this, I think it's fine. He's got like the perfect reshove stack right now, and I think we can just shove Jack-9. He seems to have it every time. You notice that? We got some outs. Yes! We actually get there! Alright, I am so glad that card came. Because I am tired and I want that over with. So we did win the last couple there. What were we, 2 for 2 or 2 out of 3? I don't even know. We win 2 out of 4. I think we won half. So yeah, we're at $44. I don't know how that happened, but we're at $44. That's good. Not gonna complain. So yeah, I guess there's really nothing else to talk about. Unless somebody's hanging out there and wants to ask me a question or something, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off, I guess. Thanks everybody for watching. I will post that blog post that I was talking about. I'm going to try and get it done now, but I have other things to do. So maybe I'll just finish it tonight and then post it in the morning, or post it before bed. I usually like to sleep on posts, just in case there's something obvious I screwed up on. I did do some mathematical stuff in there too, so if I happen to make a mathematical error, I don't think it's really going to hurt the post. I would just like to get it corrected if that happened. Okay. Happy Wednesday to everybody. I guess this is episode 11. So we'll look forward to episode 12, and we'll try to get back and do that tomorrow. I am going to be on the road tomorrow for my job. I'm going to try to get back by 2, but it's possible I won't make it. But I will definitely stream at 3 or 2:30 or whatever time I get back. So if I'm a little late, I apologize. I also have some things going on this weekend around that time, but I will probably post something somewhere about it if I'm going to change my times around. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.